Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest special edition video. I thought I would make one up here chronicling all the best and the worst of stuff, at least for myself, for 2017. Kind of like as a nice send-off for everyone out there and a nice way to introduce some of the stuff I want to talk about in 2018. Yes, I mentioned I was going to do this with my last special edition video, and it is here now. But yes, indeed, I'll just talk about a bunch of stuff that I consider to be the best things that happened in my life this year. Some of the worst things as well. Some of you out there, whenever you hear this info, y'all might agree with it, some of you not. It's just more on a personal level for myself, but I definitely wanted to share this with everyone here. And also, if you wanted to post on the comments below your own best and worst stuff, please do so. I'll be happy to hear them. I'm sure others will be happy to read them as well. And then that way you'll get to share them with everyone out there. But yes, indeed, I wanted to send off 2017 with this best and worst of video. And then that way we'll be able to together see what 2018 holds for all of us. So let's go ahead and first I'll mention some of the best stuff that occurred for me here in 2017. First off, the big one, of course, has to do with my YouTube channel here. I reached 2 milestones within this channel. I reached 20,000 subscribers and I reached 5 million views, both of them very close to one another earlier this year. I think it was towards the summer, maybe even the spring of this year too. So it was great to reach those milestones. I mean, it was just amazing to see those. And what I'm so proud of the fact is that all of this is done in the business world. The term is called organically, meaning it's just being done on its own. Like, I'm not buying YouTube promoted videos, which YouTube would definitely love me to do, believe me, nor am I part of any of those networks out there that just pretty much you have to not buy into, but you have to almost give access and control to your videos for the benefit of them self-promoting your videos throughout other videos. Some of the of other YouTube channels do that. It's perfectly fine if they want to do that. I got no qualms on that part. And then others, I'm sure you know others out there that do that too. But I like keeping things with me only. That's why. And believe me, I get these messages all the time about joining these networks. But no, I want everything to be done as is. I kind of base it off of a Las Vegas show, because in Vegas, if you have a really great show, it'll self-promote itself. People will come out, people will talk about it, and then others will be interested, and then it'll just go from there. That's how I like to do it. So that's why I'm so humbled by being able to reach this milestone. All thanks to you guys. All thanks to you subscribers, new subscribers, old subscribers, loyal fans, all of you out there that have been with me for years, and all of you that are new as well. Thank you so very much for this amazing opportunity. And I just reached 10,000 subscribers. I think it was last year or the year before last. I remember thinking, wow, it's going to be like a couple another years until I reached 20, but no, it was less than 2 years time until I did so again. So who knows when I'll reach 30,000 subscribers, and then it'll just continue from there. As far as 2018, I'll just absolutely continue with the same stuff as before. Focus on all the things that you guys like: the cryptids and monsters, ghosts and spirits, aliens, UFOs, the mafia and gangsters, all those things that I'm already talking about now, and then see what else interests me out there. I know those of you who keep suggesting like creepypasta type stuff, or maybe talking about old legends, just other types of topics. Maybe I'll definitely consider that stuff. I may drop some other ones that haven't gained any popularity either. It all depends, of course, on just my channel and then how I feel like doing things at the time. I do absolutely take any kind of critique, any other type of stuff that people want to talk about, encourage me to do things on this way, and then discourage me on others. I absolutely do take any feedback. So that's why I love seeing where this channel has gone through over the years. But thank you so much again for a great 2017 on that part, and again, looking forward to a lot more videos for you in 2018. Another big thing, a milestone that happened in my career, at least on a personal level, was that I also completed 10 years at my job, at my career, and that was a huge milestone, at least for me. So yes, I know it may not be like big news for others out there, but 10 years staying in one place, that's a big thing for me because I've always wanted the idea of being able to stay in one area and then just grow from there, kind of like in the older days where you had workers, men, women that would just stay in a position, whether it was for a private company or for a government institution, and they would do so pretty much for their life, and then they would be rewarded for it very handsomely afterward. So I'm very lucky, very fortunate that where I am, I'm able to do this, and I've been able to experience some great job growth, and then some good salary increases, lots of benefits, promotions, all that kind of stuff. So if I wanted to give one tip for everyone out there related to your own job, your own careers, and in some cases this may not apply just because of unforeseen, unfortunate circumstances, but still I'll give this tip regardless. It's try to stay where you're at and just grow from there. I know it might be tempting. You might have opportunities. You might have others out there stating, come work for me, I'll offer you this, it'll offer you that. The grass will look greener always from another standpoint. But if you can and you're absolutely passionate about what you do, try to stay there if you're happy, but not necessarily like ecstatic, but if you're happy, you can turn that around. You can make it into a much better place. I know that, again, sometimes there's unfortunate circumstances, downsizing, layoffs, people getting cut, those kind of things. When that happens, then obviously it's time to move. But when it comes to the other side and you do have a chance to grow within the organization, please try to do so. You can look at any of the other major roles, major people within Fortune 500 companies, and you'll see that most of the time, not all, but most of the time, the people that are towards the top, towards the, let's say, the higher salary, that kind of stuff, those are the people that did so. They've stayed with their company for a good time, and I've just based my success off of that. So if I wanted to offer one tip again for everyone else out there, when you find a place and you're happy with it, try to work with it. There will always be downsides, but at the same time, you can make sure that you can turn it around and then grow from there. And I'm very, very happy to be in a position that's similar to that. And then another thing that was awesome for 2017, I was introduced to two new awesome conventions, two new Comic-Cons. One of them was Famous Monsters of Filmland, which happened in Dallas, and then Texas Frightmare, which also happened in Dallas. Famous Monsters, this was their first Comic-Con ever, I think, like at least here in Texas, if not ever. And so they started and they did this one way earlier this year. I think it was in March, if I'm not mistaken. And then Texas Frightmare has been around for a while. I think this is year number 13 for them, lucky number 13, and they have been doing this very successfully, but this was the very first time I went to it. Had a complete blast at both of these cons, especially the Famous Monsters of Filmland convention, and that's because there it was the perfect like utopia of what I look for in a Comic-Con. It was where they sell tickets but not too much, like not, let's not cram everybody like sardines, but at the same time try to make it a success. But also they have all these fantastic shows, programming specials, screenings too, stuff that you can do, that you can walk around, that you can see, that you can visit, and it's almost like going to a theme park. Like it's one attraction after another. You never get bored. In other words, to me, the worst Comic Cons are the ones, besides cramming like sardines, but the ones that don't have any variety, nothing that you can do other than just walk around the vendor room and maybe just try to catch a panel, but that's about it. No, in this case, the Famous Monsters of Filmland, they cater to my type of activities, where everything was absolutely just trying to find the best thing to do hour after hour. It was a blast. It's too bad though that it looks like the convention was canceled, because it had some attendance but not just as much. Unfortunately, there was a low blow that was dealt by another Comic-Con in San Antonio, where they held after, and this was a very short time period, it was announced that they would hold their big convention on the same weekend date as Famous Monsters of Filmland. This was after Famous Monsters of Filmland had theirs announced months back, so this was a low blow in my opinion. And when that happened, it just took so much of the attendance that would have happened at Famous Monsters, and then it went to the one in San Antonio. It's a rotten world sometimes when it comes to the world of Comic Cons, but unfortunately it caused a casualty with them. But here's fingers crossed, hoping that they decide to do another one here in Texas soon. And then Texas Frightmare, yes, I now see why people are so excited about that Comic Con. It's grown obviously throughout the years, but they've still been able to maintain a great local, let's say, a success of moving people in, moving people out. Like, it's amazing. This place is held basically in one of the bottom floors of a hotel, and yet they can cram all these people in there and still keep it alive, exciting. You're not just waiting hours in line. No, it was amazing. They had screenings too. They had panels that were geared towards monsters and then cryptids as well. That was super exciting to see. They had lots of people from horror films obviously there as guests, which was super exciting too. So I was so happy to be introduced to both of these new Comic Cons, and I'm looking forward. I'm going back to Texas Frightmare later on in 2018. And then another exciting thing that happened in my life in 2017 has to do with this. Those of you that are following my channel ever since I started the Ghost and Spirit side know that I've been going ghost hunting throughout various parts of Texas for the past maybe 2 years, almost 2 years now. I've been doing it on my own. I'm just going out there. Usually if I'm trying to go to a Comic-Con, I try to in turn find locales around the Comic-Con that are considered haunted, and then that way I can try to go there and then do two things at once essentially. But I've been doing it on my own. I finally realized that if I wanted to get into the more secluded places, the more private ones, the ones that are indoor and are truly at haunted places that are out of my reach, then I would have to try to join a ghost hunting group, and I did so. I was able to go into a group and then start, and I was able to go into one of their trips late this year and had a blast. So with this announcement, it's the fact that now I get to join and go with their group to those places. Like, for example, in February, we're going to go to a haunted hospital in, I think it's Humboldt, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And there we'll be on lockdown for the whole 24 hours. Isn't that amazing? Almost like straight out of Ghost Adventures. The entire closed hospital, which is a shutdown hospital already, like it's closed, but the entire hospital will be ours for those 24 hours. All floors, all rooms, everything. I mean, it is just amazing. I can't believe that I'm that fortunate that I was able to find this group, be introduced to this group, get into it, and then of course be able to join them on something like this. And then we're going to do the same with the USS Lexington, and then there's another place in Gonzales, Texas, one of the missions that we're going to try to go through that's going to be locked down as well. And then there's one other place, what was it, a mansion, a Victoria Inn of something, I can't remember exactly, but that's another place that we're trying to do in 2018. So the sky's the limit. I'm so happy to run into this because I finally get to go into these places and then try to experience true paranormal activity as is. So great stuff. I'm so happy to be able to do so. And then one last thing in 2017 that was amazing for me, probably a lot of you already experienced this, but this goes to show just how far back I am on some cases. But finally I was introduced to unlimited data, thanks to so much to all these wars that were happening within the cell phone carriers, the AT&Ts, the Sprints, the Verizons. All started, of course, with T-Mobile and their almost revolutionary stance on unlimited data. And once that happened, just through pure competition, people deciding to leave the other carriers and going to T-Mobile, they finally had to do their own thing. So I was wondering and hoping when this would finally happen that I could get my unlimited data, because now I get to have a real smartphone, something that I could tap into data all the time, as opposed to my flip phone type stuff that I had before with limited data. But this makes me happy because now, as you've seen, I've got to work on my YouTube channel far more now than before. A lot of you, in fact, have been wondering, like, where are the comments? Why don't I comment on videos? Why don't I respond back? It's only because of limited technology. I have limited time already. So when it comes to technology, that further limits things. It just wasn't helping out. But now that I have it, I have these YouTube apps on my phone. I get to go in, I get to respond immediately in some cases to comments, to messages as well. Great, great stuff. And then those of you that have seen, also there's a community tab within my YouTube channel, and I was able to go there and then post a bunch of stuff like I do on my own Facebook page, so that way I get to introduce to everyone my daily musings, some of my postings, everything that just comes across, along with announcements related to this channel. So very, very excited how it all just happened at once, and it's no coincidence that it's just helped continue to grow this channel and grow success, and then help you guys out too, because I get to be able to communicate with everyone directly. So it all started with one little thing, unlimited data, which in turn made the phones cheaper, and then everything else. By the way, if you wanted to know what kind of phone I use, that I finally received, my first smartphone, essentially it's a ZTE Maven 2. It's bottom of the barrel, at least compared to, like, let's say iPhone X's, that kind of stuff. It's a cheap $40 phone that I got brand new, but it does everything I need. My beloved YouTube, it has Netflix, Hulu, all of the above. Everything I need, just like I would like a couple $100, in this case, smartphone. Everything can be done by this $40 phone. So definitely happy to be able to do this. I'm one of the best of stuff in 2017. Now that wraps up that part. Let's go ahead and talk about the worst that happened in 2017. Again, all from my perspective at least. For starters, I remember I was mentioning earlier about the two great cons that I went to, Famous Monsters and then Texas Frightmare. Well, just like the saying goes, one door closes, one door opens. In this case, one door definitely closed, and that had to do with the most horrible Comic-Con I've ever gone to earlier this year, and that was the Dallas Comic-Con, although I think they go by a different name now. Dallas Fan Expo, if I'm not mistaken, or Dallas Fan Days, one of those two, whatever they call themselves now. But yes, it was absolutely horrendous. I mean, look at this picture here. And this will showcase the madness that was this show. I love Comic-Cons. I love going to them. I love being able to spend my time there, see the variety, see the different panels, see the guests, of course, go to the screenings, everything I was mentioning earlier. But imagine all of that and take all of that away, and all you're doing is just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting in line. That's what this Comic-Con was, and the sole purpose of all this waiting in line, as this pictures and these upcoming pictures show, has to do with one simple thing: greed. Absolute, just unadulterated greed. Here you had a Comic-Con that did the worst thing possible it can do to piss off so many fans, and that was oversell, cram as much as they could into one single place. No matter what kind of experience the fans would have afterward, all they cared about was getting that money in, keeping that money, and then just letting the chips play thereafter. That's what the experience was there. It was just absolutely horrendous. Waiting in line to get in, even though obviously these are all prepaid tickets, then waiting to get actually into the vendor floor, then waiting to pass through hallways within the vendor floor, and then let alone trying to get into the panels, waiting to get into all these horrendous bottlenecks. It was just absolute madness. I have sworn off this Dallas Fan Expo, Fan Days, Comic-Con, whatever they call themselves now. I've sworn them off because of this horrendous experience. Not to mention the afterward, their blanket non-response to all of this. I mean, you should have seen their Facebook page after this horrendous day. They were just littered with hundreds of comments of people just so disappointed and angry, and yet there was no response from the Comic-Con. There was nothing in terms of them stating, if there was going to be an issuance of refunds or something along the lines of an apology, anything. No, it was more along the lines of, let's just wait this out, it'll die off on its own, and then the fans will come back next year. Well, that ain't happening in this case, so, and others are as well with regards to that same sentiment. So Unfortunately, and I was a fan of Dallas Comic Con for a good number of years, but as they grew, they just simply just wanted the money. It just simply went to that point, and there was no better example of it than this past show. So very, very bad stuff. Unfortunately, one of the worst experience I had in 2017. Another one had to do with this, and it was my YouTube channel here, the so-called Adpocalypse. I made a couple of videos ranting about that too. So what had happened was that all started with, and ironically it was with PewDiePie, who was picking on the Wall Street Journal. Can't remember what exactly he was picking on, but either way, he drew their ire. And when that happened, the Wall Street Journal decided to fight back a little bit. They stated that they found videos showcasing ads in front of, let's say, Nazi propaganda, terrorist videos, bad stuff, bad type of videos. And so YouTube, being embarrassed by this blunder, they decided to go ahead and do just a blanket, scorched earth, different change of policy in the world of ads. Now, all these videos that come into play, if their algorithms determine that it's unsuitable, quote unquote unsuitable for ads, then there's no more ads associated with that video. And again, this is so ironic because it all started with the most popular YouTube subscriber out there, PewDiePie. I don't even know how many views I know it's in the billions, but I can't remember how many subscribers he has. But in any case, he picked the wrong battle. Like, in other words, he what's the expression? If you do, like, if you f with the horns of a bull, eventually you'll get speared, something like that. That's what he did in this case, and it just led to this unfortunate adpocalypse. It affected me, it affected everybody out there in the YouTube world, and it's still going through the ramifications to this day. YouTube has kind of loosened things in terms of their adpocalypse, but they still are not nowhere near where it was beforehand. So that's just one of the worst things, unfortunately. It kind of made me reconsider how I could do things on YouTube, because a lot of other people have been moving to Patreon. They've been moving to other forms of subscriber-based channels out there. Vimeo, for example, is one that stands out. Twitch is another one that stands out. Some of you have even suggested Patreon for my channel, but I'm not to that point yet. But still, at least with this adpocalypse, it's unfortunate. But anybody else that was caught in the crosshairs like I was, it just led onto this world. That's why I posted in one of the comments on my community page that if you haven't seen, for example, a lot of the Silent Hill videos, a lot of the other gaming videos that I focus on, like the Half-Life stuff, it's only because all that stuff was flagged. It was so crazy. I just don't know how these the algorithms work with this so-called adpocalypse, but that's why you haven't seen them for a good while, only because there's no sense in making them if they're not going to be monetized thereafter. But hopefully in 2018 that world will change, and then we'll be able to get back to normal here on my YouTube channel with the ads and everything else. But that's pretty much it. And as far as the best of, the worst of here for myself in 2017, how does that compare with everyone out there? Anyone else have some fantastic best of stuff that worked with you? Anyone else have some rotten worst of stuff that impacted your life? Please post those comments below. Obviously, like in my case, my worst stuff is nowhere near what could be others, like others that may have lost family members or anything like that. No. It's I'm not saying that either. It's more on the lines of if you have anything you wanted to share still, I'm very happy to hear it, and I'm sure everyone else will be too. And all of this will just continue on January 1st, here the next day in 2018. Let's see where this goes. Let's see where my YouTube channel goes from here. And obviously, I'm going to continue trying to do as much as I can for you guys out there, for your continued support, which is clearly always much appreciated. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again, as always. Happy New Year, too. Hope you have a great time tonight. Hope you get to enjoy this festivities with your family and your loved ones, and we'll see each other again in 2018. Take care, everybody.